Isn't that funny what we used to think was going to hurt our little ears? I'm Bob Balaban, and I directed the next piece that you're going to see. It's called No Joking. And basically it focuses on freedom of speech and the First Amendment. And what can you say and what can't you say? We're focusing this on an event that happened over 50 years ago in New York City, where a brilliant comedian named Lenny Bruce got into terrible trouble with the government of the United States by saying certain words in public in a nightclub and being arrested. George Pataki, the governor of New York, has just taken upon himself to pardon Lenny Bruce. So there's a lot of appropriateness to us looking back at Lenny and saying, where are we now? Have we really changed? And in many cases, we find that it's exactly the same right now. Only Lenny isn't Lenny. Lenny today is the Dixie Chicks, or Lenny is anybody who says something unpopular. I think it's really interesting to look back on Lenny Bruce with historical perspective and try to place Lenny and what he was doing and saying in a contemporary context. The things that we feel comfortable having expressed in society change every 5 seconds. But the principle has to remain, and that's why we find ourselves defending things like Lenny Bruce.
Amendment number 1. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of a religion
or prohibiting the free exercise thereof,
the freedom of speech or of the press,
or of the right of the people
peaceably to assemble and to petition the government
for a redress of grievances. Amendment number 1.
At home, protests against the war.
Challenges that lie ahead. Welcome to Washington.
Thank you very much. We've got a great show for you tonight. But before we go into that, I got to tell you a story before we go any further. On my way to the theater tonight, they're selling, now get this, completely censored and expurgated versions of Die Hard 5, okay? There's nothing dirty in them. No nudity, no violence, Bruce Willis doesn't swear, and I thought, is this some kind of trend or something? Fuck that shit, okay? I'm sick and tired of people telling me what it's offensive to them. I'm offended by some things. Bob, you with me with this? Okay.
Well,
do you know that you can't say the word evolution in schools in 4 states? But if you try and take the word God out of the Pledge of Allegiance, oh my God, well, oh my God. I mean, I thought democracy meant freedom, different points of view. I may not like what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. Right?
Tonight, by popular demand, as the saying goes, we bring back once again a man the critics have called the most original young comic to come on the scene in a long time. Here once again is Lenny Bruce.
I don't know what critics you've been reading, unless it's the Watchtower. This is one review after I did the last show. The Bad Taste Award should be given to Lenny Bruce, who outshuddered every other comedian on television this year. Okay, now another nice warm review. Okay, his flat joke about don't mail me the money, wire the money was very unfunny. And that's kind of funny because I didn't even do that joke. But then finally, a newspaper with some integrity came forth. And last night, a star was born.
I represented Lenny back in the mid-'60s. I had known him since the late 50s. And then when he was arrested in New York, I and Ephraim London became his lawyers. He had already been arrested in San Francisco. He had been arrested in Chicago. He had been convicted in Chicago.
Now, as far as the present litigation I'm involved with, I'd like to perhaps give you a four-letter word that starts with an S and ends with a T. First time in television, I'm not going to look at you when I say this, because this way I can't get busted. You don't know who said it. The band said it. Starts with an S and ends with a T, and the word is snot. I know a lot of people are thinking out there now. See, he's clever up to a point, but just for a cheap laugh, he just says snot. Supposing I could tell you something about snot. So unique. And you say, is that the truth about snot? Well, a fool I did. I can't believe these years. Is it really, is that documented? Yes, that's the truth about snot. Well, hear this about snot. You can't get snot over a suede jacket.
It was motherfucker that was the word that got people very upset. It was the way he used the language and in the context in which he used the language. He couldn't play in public places any longer, and he was totally beaten down by the legal system by the time he got to New York. And also by the time he got to New York, there was a lot of drug use. It was really his last act.
So, how come all the fuss about Lenny Bruce? He was a comic, and he was sort of a hero, too. He didn't mean to be, but he had some things on his mind that he wanted to say, and he insisted on saying them.
Just come right down here to Fat Bar and look at all these real nice cars. Here's a Volkswagen pickup truck here that was just used slightly during the war, carrying people back and forth to the furnaces. I want to have you over to the house, but I got a bit of a problem now, and I don't want you to think I'm out of line, but I got a sister. And I hear that you guys, you know, well, I'll put it to you a different way. You wouldn't want no Jew doing it to your sister, would you?
Offend, there's a funny kind of thing. It's, there's semantics. There are words that offend me. Let's see, Governor Farbus, segregation offend me. Nighttime television offends me. Some nighttime television.
Lenny's brand of humor threatened a lot of folks, and they used the anti-obscenity laws to stop him from saying what he wanted to say. And freedom of speech means being able to say what you want to say, even if it means upsetting some people or getting them angry. If Lenny hadn't done what he did, I wouldn't be able to do the work that I do, and neither would many people in the humor and comedy industry. People like the Smothers Brothers, Buddy Hackett, Richard Pryor, George Carlin.
You know, Eric, didn't we work out all that freedom of speech stuff back when I was hosting the show?
Yeah, well, shows you how much you know Thomas Jefferson. In fact, you're in for a really big surprise because you still can't say a lot of that shit.
I thought the First Amendment sort of guaranteed everyone freedom of speech.
So?
You know, I sort of wrote that.
Oh.